When the calendar flips to late November, college football stops being just a game. It becomes survival. It becomes pressure. It becomes that moment where entire seasons balance on one night, one stadium, or one snap. And on November 21, 2025, two matchups carry exactly that weight. Welcome back to Beyond the Box Score, where we don't just give you predictions, we bring you into the story behind every matchup. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell, because these breakdowns drop daily and every one of them could be the difference in shaping your edge. Now, settle in, because the two games on tap tonight are loaded with drama, momentum swings, and high-stakes football that can flip postseason paths instantly. The first game unfolds beneath the lights of Carter Finley Stadium, where Florida State and NC State arrive in Raleigh locked at 5-5, two programs trapped in the middle of the ACC pack but fighting to climb out before it's too late. They're not just chasing bowl eligibility. They're chasing identity, stability, and the chance to finish a chaotic season with conviction instead of regret. Florida State enters at 5-5 overall and 2-5 in the ACC, hovering too close to the bottom of the standings. NC State sits at the same record but slightly stronger at 2-4 in conference play. The numbers lean toward Florida State with a 69.5% win probability, but absolutely nothing about this matchup promises a safe margin. NC State protects its home turf with intensity, and Florida State has been unpredictable enough this season to swing violently in either direction. In an 8 p.m. primetime slot, with fans lit up under the November chill, this game becomes bigger than standings. It becomes narrative. It becomes emotional weight. Both teams feel it, and both know a win changes the arc of everything. It begins, as so many games do, with the quarterbacks. Tommy Castellanos has carried the Seminoles with his blend of mobility and improvisation, throwing for 2,317 yards on a 59% completion rate with 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He adds another 339 yards on the ground, turning broken plays into dangerous moments that keep defenses hesitant. Across the field stands C.J. Bailey, the more prolific pure passer with 2,531 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, firing vertically with confidence and refusing to shy away from tight windows. Their styles are different, but their impact is equal. One thrives in chaos, the other in rhythm. The ground game sharpens the contrast. Florida State leans on Gavin Sawchuk, who has produced 444 yards and 8 touchdowns at 4.6 yards per carry, a steady, reliable chain mover who provides just enough balance to force defenses into honest alignments. NC State answers with Hollywood Smothers, an absolute force at 823 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, and a punishing 6.5 yards per carry. Smothers doesn't just move the chains, he changes the temperature of a drive. He sets tone. He inflicts wear. But when you flip the matchup to the perimeter, the dynamic shifts dramatically. Florida State features one of the most dangerous weapons on the entire field, Deuce Robinson. He has torched secondaries for 947 yards on 49 catches with 5 touchdowns, averaging a monstrous 19.3 yards per reception. Every time he releases off the line, the defense tilts. Every snap forces a decision: bracket, press, shade the safety, or simply pray. NC State, though, brings depth instead of one flamethrower. Terrell Anderson sits at 552 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Justin Jolie and Noah Rogers combine for more than 700 yards and 7 touchdowns. They can attack horizontally, vertically, and schematically, forcing defenses to defend within layers rather than a single focal point. But even with their depth, Robinson remains the most dangerous perimeter presence between these two teams. Defensively, the spotlight falls on NC State's anchor, linebacker Caden Forum. With 103 tackles, 10 sacks, and an interception, he's the heartbeat of a unit that thrives on pressure and disruption. Florida State counters with Earl Little Jr., who stacked 63 tackles and 4 interceptions, excelling at shrinking throwing windows and reading quarterbacks before they commit. NC State's pressure metrics remain the more consistent unit overall, with Forum and Trice forming a relentless duo that forces quarterbacks into rushed, off-platform decisions. Florida State's strength lives in the secondary and their ability to generate game-changing takeaways. But momentum tells the deeper story. Florida State is rising. Their 34-4 win over Virginia Tech and their dominant 42-7 dismantling of Wake Forest are their clearest signs of growth. Even in defeat, they battled, staying competitive in a 24-10 loss to Clemson and pushing Stanford to the wire before falling 20-13. Penalties are down. Offensive rhythm is up. Castellanos is settling into his command of the system and Robinson is breaking games open. This team looks like it's peaking. NC State, meanwhile, is wobbling. And not quietly. They've dropped 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. Losses of 41-7 to Miami, 48-36 to Georgia Tech, 53-34 to Pitt, and 36-7 to Notre Dame tell the truth. This defense isn't just losing, it's unraveling. Explosive plays allowed, missed tackles, blown coverages. The identity they once played with has slipped. And unless something snaps back into place immediately, they enter this matchup trying to stop a slide rather than dictate the game. So the duel between Castellanos and Bailey becomes the defining pivot. One quarterback thrives when structure collapses. The other thrives when structure holds. And at some point, late second quarter, mid-third, one of these players will make the play that either tilts momentum or takes it away. One will improvise brilliance or throw one too many risky balls. The margin is thin, and the outcome rests on who handles pressure better when the game tightens. And after breaking everything down, the prediction becomes clear. Florida State winner. Their recent momentum, their turnover-creating secondary, and the explosive mismatch Robinson brings on the perimeter shape the direction of this matchup. NC State's run game and pressure front will keep it competitive, but Castellanos' mobility and late-game playmaking edge tilt the fourth quarter toward the Seminoles. The second pick. Total over 56.5. Now, the scene shifts across the country to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, where Hawaii and UNLV meet in a Mountain West showdown loaded with stakes. Hawaii enters at 7-3 and 4-2 in conference play, fighting to stay attached to the league's top tier. UNLV sits at 8-2, also 4-2 in the conference, and holding position in a crowded race alongside Fresno State, Boise State, and New Mexico. Every win shapes the postseason race now, and every loss opens the door for the teams stalking behind. The analytics give UNLV a firm 72.7% win probability, but Hawaii's 27.3% isn't discouragement, it's fuel. This is a team that's embraced the underdog role all season and thrived on defying expectations. Both offenses orbit around their quarterbacks. Micah Alejado continues to evolve into one of the cleaner rhythm passers in the conference, throwing for 2,380 yards on 221 completions with 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a strong 65.8% completion rate. His style is timing, precision, and poise. Across from him stands UNLV's Anthony Calandria, who has put up 2,527 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and an 86-yard long ball that shows his confidence in pushing vertically. He plays with controlled aggression, balancing risk and reward with an instinctive feel for tight window opportunities. The ground attacks clash with entirely different profiles. Landon Sims gives Hawaii reliable efficiency, 487 yards and 3 touchdowns on 104 carries. But UNLV unleashes Jaden Thomas, one of the most explosive backs in the conference. 780 yards, 8 touchdowns, and a staggering 7.6 yards per carry. When he accelerates downhill, arm tackles dissolve and angles disappear. Hawaii turns to its vertical weapon in Jackson Harris, who has been lethal with 42 catches, 731 yards, and 10 touchdowns at 17.4 yards per catch. UNLV answers with balance. Jaden Bradley's 712 yards anchor their consistency, while Troy Omeyer and D'Angelo Irvin Jr. create the sudden change explosives that flip drives in seconds. Defensively, Hawaii leans on stability. Peter Manuma's 54 tackles, Jay Johnson III's 7 sacks, and Mendiola Jensen's interceptions. UNLV leans on volatility. Marcel McDuffie's 80 tackles, Tia Deli's 6 sacks, and Amari Brown's 4 interceptions form a defense capable of flipping momentum instantly. Momentum speaks loudly, and Hawaii has taken 3 of its last 4, dominating SDSU, handling Colorado State, and outlasting Utah State. Even their loss was a high-scoring shootout where the offense still performed. UNLV has been more volatile, brilliant in wins, but undone by defensive lapses in losses to Boise State and New Mexico. Hawaii looks steadier. UNLV looks more explosive. The quarterback duel becomes the axis. Alejado must control tempo and sustain rhythm. Calandria must accelerate it and stretch the field. Whichever quarterback forces the other defense out of its comfort zone likely controls the entire night. And after analyzing every matchup angle, the prediction stands: UNLV winner. Hawaii has the passing game to test this defense, but UNLV's layered offense, Thomas's explosive run game, and home field momentum give them the edge in late-game control. Hawaii's consistency keeps them competitive, but UNLV's ability to generate big plays and strike in waves ultimately shapes the outcome. The second pick. Total over 61.5. These two matchups carry the tension and drama that make November football unforgettable. Momentum swings, identity battles, playoff implications, and teams fighting with urgency because the window is closing fast. If you enjoyed this deep breakdown and want expert-level insight every single day, make sure to subscribe to Beyond the Box Score and hit that bell so you never miss a prediction. Drop a comment with your picks, and I'll see you in the next one.